So I am Katie Goldberg. I'm stepping in for Jacqueline this week, and I am the Director of Operations for the Cancer Letter. I'm also the Managing Editor of the Cancer History Project, which is the Cancer Letter's historical initiative. And Paul and Claire are joining us from, some quiet corner of the AACR meeting in Chicago. How's that going?
It's pretty good. I love coming here. It's, you kind of wander through the halls and you see people and you realize how important this field is and how important it is for all of us to be a part of it. And kind of like, why do we do what we do? So it's just really it's grounding. That's the word. And also some of it is groundbreaking. So and that's me. And we're gonna, since we've got only one microphone and one computer between us, Claire is here, and I'm gonna deftly send over my.
This is really polished. I love it. Claire, how's your first AACR meeting?
Oh, it's been great. It's been really sweet to put names to faces and faces to names. And I've been having a lot of fun. Yeah, I went to a really interesting discussion yesterday that was with Monica Bernioli, and Kim Rathmel was there, and she gave the Cancer Letter a shout out actually while she was on the panel, which was really sweet.
Oh, fun.
And we went to the MSK reception last night, which was really lovely. And the room was abuzz after their New York Times headline about the immunotherapy trial. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a good time. I'm actually going to go upstairs to, there's an early onset colorectal cancer discussion happening. So I'm hoping to catch that. But
yeah, well, we won't keep you. I'll launch us into kind of a recap of this week's issue, like Jacqueline usually does, and hope you have a great time at the session.
Yeah, we miss you all. Right.
Can you deftly?
Yes, I'm going to definitely shift back over to Paul.
Stuff over. Look at this. This is like avant-garde film, something like Fassbinder, something, and then, the camera going.
So in last week's issue, Paul had a conversation with Stephen Labuti, who's director of Rutgers Cancer Institute, about the opening.
Claire leave? Would you wave to the folks?
Hi, Claire. So Paul spoke with Stephen Labuti, who is director of Rutgers Cancer Institute, about the opening of Rutgers' new $900 million freestanding cancer hospital, which is scheduled to open May 13th. We also had a column from Kimran Rathmel about her new job as CEO of the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center. And then we had a story from Claire about Marty McCary's comments from his first sit-down interview since beginning his role as FDA commissioner. And our cancer policy section, which is a new weekly section in the Cancer Letter, was very long last week, and that's really what we're going to be diving into today. So, Paul, do you want to get us started? What's kind of the big highlight from that section?
Well, I'm still kind of shocked by it. The president's budget proposal, which, by the way, it's not really a document that is an intermediate document before the president's budget proposal, seems to cut funds for state cancer registries, which is about a 51 million item in CDC. Now, the unfortunate and very puzzling and sad thing, if it's really going to happen in the final version, is this is a really hugely important part of what the cancer program does. It's the entire intelligence apparatus. Are we succeeding? Are we failing? What's winning? We or cancer? And not having that. Now, the epidemiology, biostatistics world will have to do a lot more guessing. This is truly the U.S. registries is the envy of the world. And it's also not particularly expensive. I don't know what it is that they're turning out that warrants destruction.
So this is measuring cancer incidence rates
in states, and it'll.
What happens if we stop measuring?
What happens? We won't know. Basically.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole episode on that a few weeks ago about, the incidence rates and the Trump administration putting out numbers that aren't really related to anything that the U.S. is putting out.
Well, that was data from three researchers in Wuhan who came up with conclusions and data that nobody's ever seen before, because they basically cooked it wrong. So and having all of this, I don't understand why this happened. Maybe it won't happen because, Kennedy himself has said that we're making mistakes in 20% of the cases. So it's, it's too early to panic. But if that really goes down, then, well, the entire field of health services research is going to become much poorer. It's not going to be good for SEER either. But SEER also took a cut last year from the Biden administration. I don't understand why this is happening.
Yeah, well, then there's the Women's Health Initiative.
Well, that seems like it might be okay.
So what exactly happened there? So it was going to get cut, and then it didn't go away.
It will get cut, and then Kennedy said, no, it won't get cut. I think it's maybe they were doing that analysis by looking for words like women or women's health. And here is a clinical trials organization that has essentially changed the standard of care and saved many lives, and changed the way hormone replacement therapy is used. So it also saves billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's in the story. I just don't remember numbers.
No, I have it right here.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, there have been 126,000 fewer breast cancer cases as a result of their findings, 76,000 fewer cardiovascular events.
So let's just I think people should just look at that themselves. It's in the story. What about the dollar amount? It's like $26 billion in unnecessary medical services saved.
There's been a net economic return of $37.1 billion over 10 years.
So there you go. Of course you have to cut that.
And then 126,000 fewer breast cancer cases and 76,000 fewer cardiovascular events. I mean, these are not numbers to sniff at by any means.
Nothing
and if it is just because women is in the title, that's
the reason. I guess I have no idea. I don't really work for Doge. Rumors.
It'd be a surprise to me if you did.
It would be a surprise to me if I did as well. So who knows? It's just I don't get it. But there's the good part of it is that it's not going to happen apparently. So Women's Health Initiative is going to continue. Now, when it started, that was when I went full time at the Cancer Letters. So it's really kind of measures my career in some ways too. So it's a landmark for me.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the DOJ letters to peer-reviewed journals. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, that basically is a letter that went to a bunch of peer-reviewed journals, Chest and New England Journal among them, that asked the journals how they select and how do they go about their business of running peer-reviewed research papers, and is there some ideological agenda behind it? So I don't know. There is a belief out there that there are certain orthodoxies that run journals, and that certain kinds of hypotheses do not get published, do not see the light of day. maybe some of it is true, because I have seen orthodoxies form too over many years. But I'm not sure that a letter from DOJ is going to solve that. I think there could be some softer levels of persuasion that could occur to show that there are alternative thoughts, or there are no alternative facts, and journalists should really focus on facts. So, but I guess some of the folks who felt like they were ostracized by the establishment. I mean, these consensuses and orthodoxies do form. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some major discoveries from people who were really ostracized by the establishment. If you look at
Right.
Bernie Fisher.
But on the other hand, if you are ostracized by the establishment, it doesn't mean that you have a major discovery in you.
Right.
So,
you could be Bernie Fisher, or you could be completely wrong.
yeah, quack. That is also a possibility, and the quacks do feel ostracized, as did Bernie. But Bernie went through the establishment, and he was able to get into and get his data published.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very interesting set of questions, and I've seen NEJM, for example, come up with some really crazy papers. But then again, science can self-correct. I hope. Peer-reviewed may not be a good system, but it's the best one we have. That's what I believe, but who cares what I believe?
Right. I mean, what kind of impact does it have on science for Kennedy to say he wants to prosecute medical journals?
I'm not sure it's Kennedy. It's DOJ, right? I don't know. I really don't know where it's going, if anywhere.
My understanding is that Kennedy has said that he wants to prosecute medical journals. I don't know. He's not the one doing the prosecuting.
He says many things.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those things make sense, and some I'd like to wait and see. So God knows what's happening with all of this. But yeah, these are folks who believe that natural immunity should have been reached in COVID instead of lockdowns, and they found out that they were ostracized, and maybe they should have been, maybe they shouldn't have been. But I'm not sure DOJ is necessarily the forum or necessarily the tool to resolve scientific disputes. It's been done, that kind of approach. I've seen it done, but not in the United States.
Do you want to talk about any other highlights from the past week?
Those were the big ones. I really think the scariest one is what's happening with CDC. And you really had to look for it. Like, I couldn't really find it initially when I got that 64-page document from OMB. I could not figure out. I couldn't make heads or tails of this, and it took us a week to get through it, to really understand it and really confirm that this is what it really says: is that they're ridiculously killing this $51 million program. And by the way, I don't know if anybody is a constituent to this. I don't know if anyone is going to call their congressman over cancer registries. Can you imagine anything more yawn inducing than, data collection?
Not to me. I love data collection.
No, I'm talking about the popular.
It's my favorite thing.
In the street, No, I think it's fascinating. I think it's important, but we both know this stuff. We live and breathe it. But if you're, just measuring it, then, or rather, if you're just out there looking at all of this and somebody says, "Oh, they're killing the cancer registries," okay.
Does that have an impact on how we know that there are certain hotspots for different cancers.
Yeah.
And then that would have an impact on environmental toxins as well. And so then who stands to benefit from it if I'm just connecting dots here?
But if nobody understands it, then you can say anything. So everybody benefits who wants to benefit. If you don't have the data, you can just BS your way through a policy. It's great. I don't know if that's, I don't want to say that this is, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
You're a journalist, you're not a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
You have to ask questions.
I'm making a simple observation, which is if you don't know what's happening, you're free to make shit up. It's great. And nobody's going to say boo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and everyone kind of loses in this context.
But they don't know it. People who lose don't know they lost.
That's true.
And therefore nobody gains, but they don't know they gained. It's just kind of turn the lights out. Yeah, and it's the data that cancer centers use to find out what's happening out there, in their catchment areas. Mm-hmm. So if you learn that a certain kind of area, and see, the reason this was even necessary is that the United States population and regions are so heterogeneous, and you don't really, you have to look at what is actually happening in there. So it doesn't go from state to state in the same way. So if you learn that a certain, cluster of people in, say, in Appalachia has a certain cancer. Yeah, so you find them and you detect the data and you act on it if it's in your catchment area. And that also drives your basic science, and it drives your interventions. It drives the cancer centers.
Right.
So,
I mean, lung cancer I think Appalachia has some of the highest incidence rate of lung cancer, and, tobacco cessation programs can be targeted towards that. And then you can that data leads to saving lives, and it leads to catching things earlier, and it leads to preventing disease in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also, if you lose that, you've lost a lot throughout the United States. Then who is there in Congress to say this won't do? Mm-hmm. But then again, the president's president's budget proposal is just a proposal. Congress legislates.
I mean, in the first Trump term, he had these 20 to 40% cuts that he kept pushing, and Congress pushed back, and the funding was actually higher than it was previously.
Yeah. He wanted like a 20% cut and then ended up with a 3% increase. Yeah. So, but now he's done, and there was also a 10% on indirect costs.
It's just a different Congress as well, so.
It's a different Congress. It doesn't take a whole lot of people to just say, hey, this won't do, but you have to make sure that those people understand that this is really a catastrophic thing. And I'm also not really convinced that this is, not being a conspiracy theorist, I'm not convinced that this is deliberate. I think somebody may have just screwed that up, and the results are just becoming clear to them right now. And there could very well be somebody at the OMB saying, oh, shit.
Well, the cancer letter is on the story. So
we're on the story. We will be on the story. And, everybody should be on that one. Mm-hmm. It's too big. It's too important. And it's so easy to overlook, which I'd like charitably to think is what happened here, is somebody just screwed up.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're still covering it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time at AACR.
Well, thank you, and this is a great time to be a journalist.
It certainly is.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Cancer Letter podcast, where we explore the stories shaping the future of oncology. For more in-depth reporting and analysis, visit us at cancerletter.com. With over 200 site license subscriptions, you may already have access through your workplace. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. Together, we'll keep the conversation going.
Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for listening.